Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 15 of the Void Frogs podcast. My name is Stifflered, and I am joined by my co-host, the qmagnet, and one very special guest.
Special? For centuries, nay, centuries, a war has been brewing between the House of Stiff and the House of Q, the War of the 26th letter. The word I can't pronounce, symbol, was the seventh letter named Zayn, which meant weapon or sword. The Greek form was a close copy of the Phoenician Zayn. In some inscriptions, the letter represented a vulgar Latin sound. In modern Italian, it represents zzz or zzz. In other languages, such as Spanish, further evolution of the sound occurred. It is the least frequently used letter in written English, with a frequency of only about 0.08% in words. But our guest today has come to fulfill it to 100%. Please welcome Minecraft server master and the proper pronunciation of the Void Frogs podcast Alphabet War, Zed!
Hello everyone. I think when my parents were naming me, I don't think that I was going to be the subject of such a controversial topic.
But wonderful name.
Thank you for such a wonderful introduction. And yes, my name is actually Zed. I always get asked, "Oh, is that just your online name?" And I'm like, "No, it's my actual real name."
For real.
I would show you my birth certificate, but I feel like that's probably not a good idea on the internet.
That's a good, what do you call icebreaker conversation?
Yeah. It is a very good icebreaker conversation because mainly people just don't believe it. They'll be like, "Oh, what's your name?" And I'll be like, "Zed," and then it's always, "Oh, is that short for something?" And I'm like, "Yep, it's short for Zed," and they really don't like that because it sounds. But I don't know, like people just flat out refuse to believe it, and I think some people still think my name's really boring or like Steve or Rick or something.
And you just have this awesome name.
I just have I'm very lucky to have a relatively unique name. I think I've tried to find other Zeds. There's a musician called Zed, but they have a second D. And so it's ZEDD. And then I think there's also a photographer in Scotland who goes by Zed. And other than that, couldn't find anyone else.
You Google your name constantly. Like, there's got to be another one, please. I can't be the only one.
All alone in this world as the only Zed.
I think at this point, everybody's going to wonder, do you have siblings and what are their names?
So I do have a sister and they're called Xenia, but it's spelt with an X at the start. Yeah, it's really weird. Like both myself and my sister have quite weird names, and then my parents have fairly standard names. So I'm not really sure kind of quite what their decision making process was, but we ended up with fairly wacky names for a small town in England.
Well, I think it's pretty awesome. But we are off on a roll talking about names, which is great. But I think that we should probably let the people know who you are, besides just that you are this
I just explained it.
Object,
the War of the 26th letter, obviously.
26th letter, which I refuse to adhere to. But yeah, who are you? What? Give us a little brief synopsis. Who is this powerful man with a powerful name, Zed?
So yeah, my name's Zed. I'm from a server called CubeCraft. I got into Minecraft stuff probably, I don't actually know, maybe 2012, 2013, something like that. I started just kind of, I was never very good at the game, so kind of went very quickly into server administration because it was the only thing I was good at. Like all my other friends were like, "I love this, I'm great at PvP," and I'm like, you know what? I'll just make sure that you can join the server. That's gonna be my speciality. And they can have fun with building and all that kind of stuff. And so I very quickly got into server administration and from that server development. I kind of was learning Java at the time. I would have only been about maybe 10, 11, 12, 13, something like that, quite young when I started going with it all. And I first joined a server called like my first kind of proper role was at a server called Multicube, which you might remember from back in the day. It was Tom Syndicate's server. and I was a developer there for a bit. And then that shut down, and I joined CubeCraft pretty quickly after that as just a developer, and then since then I've kind of done a lot more. So I help run the dev and tech teams at CubeCraft at the moment, and do quite a lot of the dull and boring stuff behind running an organization and making sure all of the paperwork etc. gets sorted correctly. But I won't bore you with too much. But with that, my passion is definitely kind of the development, seeing all of the players kind of enjoy really what we do. We still get a buzz out of it. Still love jumping in the lobbies, playing with people. Like just yesterday, I jumped in with some random people in Discord, played some Egg Wars and Sky Wars, and I really enjoy it. So
nice.
It's good fun.
Hey, I understand completely that whole philosophy of I'm not really good at the game, so I'm gonna make a server. Like that's exactly where I am. I'll let other people do the building.
It's really funny. I get on CubeCraft we have a leveling system depending on like how many wins you have and how well you do, how many games you've played. I'm only level 11, and I think that's incredibly low. Like there are people with like hundreds and hundreds of levels, and I'm very tempted to just go in and tweak it a bit so it doesn't look so bad. But I'm currently still on my vanilla level, and yeah, I get whenever people see me in the lobby, they just hover over my name. They're like, "Mate, you don't know what you're doing." And I'm like, to be honest, I die quite quickly in almost all of our games. So.
Well, I got an idea then. You could go like anybody who logs in and can pronounce the letter properly gets extra bonus points.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a good rule, right?
That should be a good rule. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a terrible rule. It's a terrible rule.
You just don't get the bonus points. You can say it, Stifler. You can say it. Zed. Sounds so good.
I'll take my
rolls off the tongue.
I'll take my points ethically. Thank you very much. Hey, so what
One
is
there. Controversy?
Right. What is your official title at CubeCraft?
So my official title is director for technology. So I guess we have a director for development. So Rubik, who founded CubeCraft back in the day, they kind of look after most of the dev team, and we also have Marco, who kind of looks after the servers and the network and support and that kind of stuff. And I help coordinate between the two when they need it and do a lot of the background stuff, which is required to keep the cogs moving.
Yeah, cool. Cool.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in here because I'm the odd man out here. I have no idea anything about servers. I don't know what it takes to run them. I'm a map maker. I need to know how the heck you are you running command blocks, or are you obviously have some plugins in the background or something like that? How do you take a world with a mountain and then get thousands of players to join it?
Yeah, it's quite difficult. So we started in I think it was 2012, December 2012. Luke started up and kind of just wanted to play some games with some friends, and I think they didn't know command blocks, so they just went straight in with like bucket and just modding it. So on the Java versions of Minecraft, there's this thing called the bucket API, which is basically a way that you can write Java code and it interacts with the underlying Minecraft server to effectively a more advanced command blocks. You can listen to entities, hitting other entities, so, player PvP, listen to movements of players and act off that. And once you've kind of got that base logic, you can start to build really, really complicated systems and games and all that kind of stuff. So we have, I think, I don't know, we've got tens of games, I think, in total. We have a few rotations. I think the difficulty which we have as a server is that building a game is really hard to get it to balance. But the other challenge which we have is that it's all the supporting services. You can probably make a version of Egg Wars and Sky Wars in a slightly reduced fashion in command blocks. But what you can't do is the stat saving. You can't do the friend systems, the party systems. The playing instant play agains, all the lobby systems which we have. That's kind of where all of the infrastructure code really comes in to help glue the network together. Like when you play on a Minecraft network, it's kind of one cohesive experience. And to get that all to work requires, I think we have over 100, 150, I think potentially more dedicated servers sitting in data centers around the world, just running Minecraft. We see gigabits of traffic. Just the raw technical challenge of delivering that level of service to players all around the world is really hard, and it takes a lot of us. So we've got I think about 10 developers at the moment, working kind of either part-time or full-time on everything from supporting services. So that's everything from moderating, bans, all of the appeal sites, all that kind of stuff. We've got people working obviously on the games, got people working on all of our cosmetic content. It's a proper game studio, effectively. And many, like, it was weird. We've done some recruitment recently, and we literally had like associate producer roles advertised. We had engine developers advertised, like everything you'd kind of see in a traditional game studio. And I was kind of sat back and was like, oh wow, it is really quite extraordinary how what was literally a bedroom hobby project has kind of evolved into something which is a behemoth of an organization to run.
Yeah, I'm kind of a big deal. Okay, that's what you say.
That
just
sums
kind of
that
a
up.
big deal here.
No, but I mean, seriously, you have had almost 34 million, according to your stats page. Almost 34 million unique players have joined your server over the last 8-9 years.
That's across, I think, both Java and Bedrock.
Cool.
One of the really unique things which we've done as a network is that we've kind of converged. It's all the same infrastructure which you join. So on kind of the CubeCraft network, we have a platform for 1.8, a platform for 1.9 through 1.15.2 or whatever. I think that's the latest Minecraft version.
Yep.
And then obviously the Bedrock platform as well. And so we see peaks of, I think, 27,000 concurrent users. I think we got slightly higher than that recently. Like 36 million. 30. You said just approaching 34 million.
Yeah, I saw 33 million this morning.
Yeah, so about 34 million unique players have joined us since we started back in 2012, which is an absolutely phenomenal number.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna bring it down low key to people like me who don't get it. I logged on today.
Yeah.
The Java, I tried both. The Java server had like 5,000 people on right today, this morning, and the Bedrock server had about 11,000.
Yeah.
What's the other thing I was gonna say? The other thing I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah.
We talked about command blocks. That's my realm. Yeah. Are you like putting this like server on your computer beside your bed and then people log on to it, or you have like this huge massive computer up in the sky that people log on to? What's that about? I don't understand any of that.
You said 150 server locations?
Like I honestly, we've expanded massively. I don't actually know what the latest figure is. I think it could be approaching 200, or I think it was a peak, but we basically have 200 dedicated, almost around them. I don't know the exact number. A 3-digit number. We have them basically sat in a data center, and they just run Minecraft servers, run kind of the back end services which we require. They're all churning away at quite high load almost all the time. But yeah, you basically. Unfortunately, I think we'd probably get told off if I tried to run CubeCraft out of our home broadband internet. I think BT might come and be like, actually, you can't really do that, they're getting like gigabits of traffic coming down to online. I think so. It's
like 200 guys' bedrooms.
Yes, basically 200 guys' bedrooms, air conditioned and in a secure location somewhere in France.
Air conditioned.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know I'm steering this because I'm getting the basic information here.
Yeah.
When somebody, you've got all these different servers, is that because each one has a different world logged on, or they're all backups, or how does that work?
So effectively at any one time, we might actually be running 2,000, 3,000, maybe slightly more, 4,000 actual Minecraft servers. And so an actual kind of traditional, well, a modded version of the vanilla Minecraft server. And that's actually running the game. And so it might be a lobby, it might be a game of Sky Wars or Egg Wars or parkour, whatever it might be. And generally you kind of have anywhere from 8 to 24 players in a game. And so we have most of those machines are just running Minecraft servers. We then have a few lobby servers. Those generally run more. Again, it's just a modded Minecraft server with the lobby loaded in. You can click on it to join other games, and that will run 30, 40 players in that. And yeah, it just scales. We have I have like a talk about how we scale Minecraft games. But probably not of interest for anyone listening to this podcast. But basically, we have we have something which basically looks at what everything which is running, looks at the player counts on them, and goes, oh, we need more of these servers, and it just tells a box, hey, spin up an Egg Wars server with this map, and we have some quite fancy stuff which will load it all in and start it up, and then it becomes joinable.
That's pretty incredible.
Easy.
So a lot of that stuff is actually automated using your system so that you guys don't have to keep track and be like, oh my goodness, we're getting so many players right now. Let's launch 10 more.
I think it requires several full-time people if we had all of our server creations manual. Like I think we create in a kind of network cycle, which happens about every 30 or 40 seconds. I think we create about 200 servers because obviously a game will start, will run, and then shut down. That resource is released, and it will then get reassigned. Yeah. It's a really high churn rate, and it just churns away. There's a cool little room which we have where we can just monitor them all, and it's just you just sign in, and it's just like, I'm becoming this game, I'm becoming this game, I'm becoming this game, I'm becoming this game. Yeah. And it's nice to just sometimes sit in there and look what's going on.
Now, what I want to do, because I know Q, he has a very confused look in his eye. So I want to take a little bit. We'll just kind of back it up a little bit, and I want to translate a little bit of what you've said for Q and any of the users out there. So essentially, you mentioned Bucket as being the underlying API.
Put in a bucket.
So now from Bucket, we have Craft Bucket and Spigot and Paper Spigot and others.
Yes.
Now those are like a server type, like a server jar, and you could compare those to like Forge for mods.
So the Bucket API is kind of like the server version of the Forge API. So if you think about when you run Forge mod loader, it loads up mods and kind of runs those and puts them into the client. Craft Bucket is a server version of that, so it loads up on the server side plugins and other stuff which you've got in there. Due to the interesting and historical complexities of the Bucket project, most people at the moment use either Spigot or Paper. Spigot is a patch of Craft Bucket with a load of added features or performance tweaks, and then Paper kind of builds on that again with more kind of performance tweaks and stuff. Which does mean I think we run internally we run a custom fork of Spigot, which does mean when we actually work it out, if you think of like Craft Server as the mod, Spigot is a patch on the mod, and then we patch that patch. So we actually run a patch of a mod of the Minecraft server. Yeah. And it's kind of a bit of an inception to try and work out what's doing what when something goes wrong. But it's kind of how the kind of the way the server ecosystem evolved with Spigot is now the kind of the does the maintenance of the Bucket API and the Craft Bucket updates. It's been quite a history.
Spigot, Paper, Bucket. Who's coming up with these names? I want to come up with the name.
There's a lot of water themes. Like there's in all the server software. There's seems to be some kind of water theme in it. Like I know Bungee Cord has a fork called Waterfall, and it's all. Everything is just everyone loves water. Apparently,
that's the job I want. I wasn't told about that server name mod names. I want that. What's a good one? Ice. Melted ice. That's the next one I'm coming up with.
Probably already exists, to be honest. If you search it on GitHub, I'm almost certain there's probably a repository for melted ice. No idea what it does, but I'm sure it exists.
I'm thinking. Hold on.
It sounds like a good name.
There's other ones too, Q. There's Taco Spigot. There's Twinity, which is a newer-ish one.
Yeah, I think that's a patch on Paper Spigot,
yep.
If I recall. So that's a patch of a patch of a patch of a mod. I think that's enough patches. I don't know.
Yeah, right. So when a new version of Minecraft comes out, and I want to touch on Bungee at some point too, but when a new version of Minecraft comes out, you can't just instantly update. You don't have this isn't vanilla Minecraft where you can just immediately be ready to go. You have to wait for Bucket, Spigot, the patches down the line to be updated, and you might be involved in that, because you have your developer team there.
So a lot of the kind of multi-versioning support networks, we actually run a fairly old modified version of Minecraft. So we run, I think we're based off Minecraft 1.9.2 for our Java server. And basically what we do is that we basically have a really customized version of it. If you're aware of in terms of Minecraft, 1.13 introduced loads of chunk changes.
Yeah.
And basically within the 1.9 server jar which we run, we have a custom chunk system which allows us to send in in the format which is supported by 1.13 without having to do a really expensive conversion.
Wow.
It gets really, really hard. Like, we support clients from 1.8 all the way up to 1.15.2. Backwards compatibility, forwards compatibility is something which we really struggle with, because it's one of the actually nice things about working on Bedrock is that you only have to really worry about kind of the beta, the current version, and the previous version. And outside of that range, no one really plays on it, because obviously Android, Xbox, they all auto update. So people just kind of are always playing on the latest or betas. So that's actually a lot easier from a tech perspective. On the Java side of things, we basically have code which will either step up your version or step it down depending on what version you're connecting with.
And that's there's a lot of complexity there. It's kind of crazy that you are based. I did not realize that you were based on 1.9.2. Okay, so
I don't. To be fair, I don't think you'd recognize it because we basically shoehorn in our own systems to increase efficiency of the Minecraft server. I think we've ripped out a load of vanilla functionality. We've put in our own systems to increase efficiency and performance across.
So they add all the blocks that come out after customly?
We can add in. I think we've got I don't know whether we've got it out in production, but we've kind of played around with it definitely in test in terms of having the newer blocks on the run on the older versions of the servers. Because we can basically, in our version of it, we can add these really complex game modes. We can also just re-implement stuff which has been added in future versions of Minecraft ourselves. That's useful, especially when in terms of PvP, we tweak the 1.9 PvP mechanics to be slightly better for combat in player versus player rather than the kind of PvE which survival's designed around. It's a massive engineering effort to keep that up to date, and we've just started literally a few weeks ago. We've actually created a team just to work on our server engine effectively. So everything from kind of the protocol support to the low level performance of the server jars to anti-cheat and all that kind of stuff.
Wow. Okay.
Anti-cheat.
Yeah, I want to get over.
That's a whole other topic.
I want to get over into that stuff. I want to move away from some of the more technical stuff so we can talk about some of the other things. But before we do that, the last kind of piece of the puzzle of all of this, you have these 2,000 to 4,000 Minecraft servers across 150 different machines in data centers around the world, so that players have good connection, ping,
guys'
all
bedrooms.
That. You have on top of all of these servers, there's another layer, or I wouldn't really call it on top, maybe, I guess, for the simple terms.
Yeah.
There's the proxy, right? You have Bungee Cord, or maybe Waterfall, or velocity. Like what are you using there to connect those servers together so that they are all functioning as a cohesive unit?
So obviously Minecraft doesn't have a transfer packet. So once you join a server, you're kind of connected to that server until you disconnect. Right. And when we want to bounce you around, different games, we obviously have to, we need to put something above the actual game server to allow us to transfer where you're actually connected to. And you're right. I've just checked. We've currently got 3,000 Minecraft servers running, wow. which we're bouncing players around. And so we have a piece of software called Bungee Cord, which is a layer 7 Minecraft proxy. I think is how it's sold on the GitHub page. But all that really means is that your client connects to this piece of software called Bungee Cord, and then Bungee Cord speaks to our systems and goes, "Hey, I've got this new player joining. Where do you want them to go?" And then, our system will usually go, "Yeah, let's send them to a main lobby." And then the Bungee Cord will route your connection to the main lobby. Then on the main lobby, you might go, "Oh, I want to go play some Egg Wars." The main lobby, you click, "I want to play Egg Wars." The main lobby then speaks to the Bungee Cord and goes, "Send this player to an Egg Wars game, please." And the Bungee Cord goes, "Oh, where's an Egg Wars game? Oh, there's one over here, game server G045Z or something." Yeah. And we'll then go, "Okay, disconnect you from the main lobby, connects you to this server. Now you're in the Egg Wars server." And
you guys, go ahead.
I was going to say, there's not one main lobby for all players though, right?
No, we run about, I think up to like 40, 50 main lobbies. Because there's just so many players. We try and keep it around, because we want to create a really vibrant atmosphere for the players. Yeah. And so we want the lobbies to be busy. But we try and keep it around, 40-ish, 30 to 40-ish, because beyond that, if you're on a low-end device, that it might start getting some performance issues. So we have multiple lobbies, which you just get randomly connected to. You can always switch between them.
I was going to say that means how do I log in and see my friend in the lobby? Is it randomly selected?
That randomly selected. We have a party system. Similar to what you'd see on Xbox. So you can always create a party and invite them, and then you all kind of travel around the network together. Alternatively, you can manually switch. So we have a lobby switcher. Lobby 1 is usually the social hub of where people go. So there's often, moderators and staff there, and prolific members of the community will go and chill out and chat with each other in that lobby.
Wow. It's incredible. Okay, let's step back away from the technical stuff. I love it. I could geek out on it for a long time.
Yeah,
perfect. Yes, that's where I want to go. So I know exactly what I want to ask. I know what I want to ask.
Okay, ask it. Go hit it.
For the people who aren't smart like me.
Yeah.
Why don't you go over what games you have on the server? Because that's kind of the interesting thing. It's you said you had Egg Wars, which is not throwing eggs at each other. I played it today. No. It took me a while to figure it out. But what kind of list your games and how they work?
So our kind of main games, so our kind of 3 most popular games on Java at the moment would be Sky Wars, Egg Wars, and Skyblock. Sky Wars is a kind of an elimination game. You spawn on islands, floating islands with chests on them, and you kind of equip up. You bridge across to other islands, and it's basically a fight to the death. Those are really kind of quick-paced games. You play them either by yourself or you can play them in teams. And we have everything from teams of 2 all the way up to teams of 8 and beyond. That's a kind of one of our core game modes. On Bedrock, we've recently released these large team of 10 games, I think it is. The number might be slightly wrong, but basically really large kind of 10v10v10 games, which are just absolute chaos, but so much fun to be in. So it's kind of a very classic PvP in the sky game. Egg Wars is a game which was one of the ones which really kind of made CubeCraft really popular back in 2015, 2014, something like that, when we first launched it. So it's inspired by Sky Wars, but we've added this concept of the egg which you defend. So on the island you spawn on, you have an egg which you have to protect. Until that egg is destroyed, you will respawn. So if you fall off, if you die, if you get killed, you just respawn back on your island. You can go get resources and rebuild your arsenal, and then go and do it. And the target is that you go around to all the other islands, and you have to try and destroy the other team's eggs, and then kill the other team, which kind of starts to add a bit of strategy into it, because you have to decide between, are you going to go and be really offensive and attack other teams, or are you going to be really defensive and concentrate on building a really strong defense around your eggs? Because there's an in-game currency of like there's several in-game currencies of like iron ingots, gold ingots, and I think there's one other which basically spawn throughout the game, and you kind of spend those to either upgrade your armor, upgrade your weapons. You might want to buy obsidian blocks to protect your egg, so it's harder for other people to go and destroy it. And that's kind of the premise of the Egg Wars game is defend your base, destroy everyone else's.
Now you also
you have to go
ahead, Q. Oh,
I was gonna say there's a villager on your island.
Yeah,
you have these ingots that are constantly spawning.
Yeah.
I fell off like twice and lost all my stuff. You lose your stuff when you fall in the void. And then you go and trade to him for blocks, and then you can use the blocks to bridge to another island or build a base, and then they have to break it with tools and stuff.
Yeah, and it really is kind of a cool game in terms of the strategy side of it. And actually, it's been one of the games which we've run successfully in a tournament setting. Yeah. So when we've kind of taken CubeCraft to like gaming festivals and stuff, like we run that as a stage show, which works really well, because it's not just the kind of you're not knocked out that game immediately. If you're killed, you have a respawn, so it does give a slightly better player experience. But yeah, so that's kind of Egg Wars. The other kind of big game on our network at the moment, which is currently available only on Java but is going to be coming to Bedrock at some point, is Skyblock. And this is a very custom version of Skyblock. I mean, I don't want to bore people with the technology side of it, but that's kind of the bit I've been involved with the most, or at least I'm most familiar with. And, the fact that you have your own world, which is saved and load almost instantly for tens of thousands of players, is crazy. Phenomenal. And the dev team behind it, Rubik did a lot of work on that. And it still blows my mind the stuff he did to get even the Minecraft server to just load it and behave exactly as we needed to get the super high performance and throughput which you need to run that at scale is phenomenal. But so Skyblock is basically our version of the kind of classic Skyblock game mode. We've got a few really cool twists on it. So it's actually quest based. So you basically have a quest tree which you follow through, and basically as you follow that quest tree, it unlocks more and more islands. And then as you get through the game, you get access to like a Skyblock hub, which then you can go and trade and do kind of more advanced like Skyblock shops and all that kind of stuff. We also have the option and will be in the future bringing out new dimensions as well, which is really, really exciting. We've kind of tweaked some of the vanilla aspects of it. So, the classic icon of Skyblock is the cobblestone generator. We actually don't need that. We have our own version of that where we've got blocks which will naturally respawn a material. So if you think you can place down a generator and it will generate either a tree, a cobble, an ore once every X seconds. And that's really allowed us to balance the game in a way to kind of give constant progression. Like to get to the end of our Skyblock quest tree, you're talking almost weeks of actual playtime to follow it all through. And that's something which we've been really good, because what we didn't want something which just kind of, you're instantly there and got everything and then it's just grinding to get all the quests. We wanted a really, really thought out progression. And you don't get iron tools until quite far down the quest tree. Because actually iron tools are really powerful, but for a lot of it, stone tools are fine for most of Minecraft. And by kind of delaying that allows us to kind of draw out the process a lot more. It's really interesting. Like we have hundreds of quests and side quests which you can do. And that's kind of been one of our biggest launches, especially this year. And
awesome.
We're really proud of it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. When Skyblock has been around for years and years
Yeah.
and years, and I've been a part of a lot of servers. First of all, that you are bringing Skyblock to Bedrock. You are doing that, right? You mentioned it.
Yes. That's public.
That's that's public. That's
Yes, yes, I'm fairly sure it's public.
I hope so.
It's fine. It's an exclusive.
Okay.
Yes, we're working on it. Yeah.
You can cut it if you want. Well, so if that happens, I mean, that's huge. That's huge because I know so many people play Bedrock, want to play on a Bedrock Skyblock server. So that's really cool that, you know, we might see that in the future. But I'm just thinking, like, you know, I've seen a ton of Skyblock servers. They're incredibly popular, incredibly trendy. And there's different takes on them, but it is really easy for a Skyblock server, for the economy and for the play style, like the players on there, the competitive nature of it, to kind of get out of control and out of hand. The economy just completely blows up so that new players join and they can't afford a single thing anymore. Does taking control of that quest line help to keep the, you know, the player economy or the engagement factor and all that? Does that help keep that under control by being more detail oriented?
It does. So one of the unique things about our Skyblock is it's not really focused on interplayer trading, whereas a lot of Skyblocks have that as a mechanic. Ours is actually focused on you have your solo profile, but then you have a co-op profile which you might then do with friends, and then kind of that group you progress through the quest tree, because actually balancing an economy so that your people at late game can't just absolutely destroy people at early game is really hard, and also brings really complicated issues, especially at scale. You know, player safety is actually is obviously incredibly important to us, and something which kind of was a really big red flag is that we've seen on kind of grey market sites people selling, give me actual real money and I will trade with you in game at really cheap prices, and we really want to avoid that because that's obviously a massive community safety issue. And so, you know, at any time you kind of have those mechanics that which are ripe to abuse, if you don't have, you know, we haven't figured out a way to do that responsibly, and I haven't seen anyone else do that yet. And until we kind of have figured it out, you know, we've got a few ideas internally where you know, to balance it in a way where it won't pay to kind of just grey market stuff in. Until we've kind of got that cracked, we won't have player trading because we don't, you know, we've got a relatively, especially on Bedrock, a super young user base. We don't want people getting scammed and all that kind of stuff. And we've got a responsibility there to make sure that we're providing a safe environment, and that everything provides for it. So the quest tree basically allows us to force that economy in a controlled way. We have this concept of Skyblock coins, which allows you to purchase stuff from in-game shops, but you can't trade that with other players. We've done a lot of maths work internally to balance that. Like, I've seen, you know, graphing calculators were on like almost every dev desk when they were working on all this. It was pretty mental stuff, and we've got gigantic internal reference sheets and all that kind of stuff, which guides when you can get stuff at certain points on certain islands and all that. And that's kind of helped us create a really kind of almost quest tree, but within either your solo or profile with friends, without kind of having to contaminate a wider economy, because it is a really hard problem to solve. Like, governments struggle to run economies well. So, like, you know, which is a Minecraft server, and we don't want to kind of open it up to abuse. So we're kind of playing it safe for now in terms of that side of it. Because, you know, actually, years and years ago, like, I think when I first started at CubeCraft in 2014 or 2015, we had a Skyblock server then, and that was much more of a traditional version. You know, hundreds of, you know, players on it, but you know, you're all in the same world, and like how a lot of those servers used to work, and that had a shop system. And we had a lot of moderation power in being able to control that and keep it under control. But, you know, this Skyblock scales up to thousands of players concurrently, and we just can't monitor all of that communication all the time.
So there are a lot of Skyblock servers right now, and there's also a huge question I've been a part of a lot of discussions with this. I'm very concerned about player safety and child safety and abuse and those sorts of things. And I know that Microsoft is as well. Mojang is with their partner servers. That's obviously a huge part of it. Is making sure that the servers are EULA compliant, EULA compliant, following their agreements, and also, taking care of their players and not manipulating young players or anything like that. But there is that, like what you're talking about there is a concern about players creating an environment where players can abuse other players and exploit other players. And so now you guys have really taken control of that, and you've done a great job with it. And I'm assuming that's helped make you a partner. That's helped solidify your relationship with Mojang so that you can be a partner.
So the Skyblock stuff is only this year. But I mean, throughout CubeCraft, we've always been erring on the side of caution, especially in terms of EULA and what we do. Like we're very player first as an organization. You speak to Luke, who founded CubeCraft, and he's the most amazing person. And all he wants to do is create really, really cool games which people love playing. And he really just doesn't care about anything else. Like that's his number one focus, is just quality of play and building really cool games which people love playing. And so unfortunately, we do have a very large server and staff bill which we need to work out how to balance. But that's kind of always been the secondary part of it. Is we build a great product first, and then kind of work out how to make sure that we stay alive as a business.
So actually, that's perfect, because that was going to kind of lead into my next question there. It would be easy to create games and create a server where players could exploit each other, where there is some breaking of trust there and all of that. Would it be worth the headaches of allowing that sort of environment to exist to pay your bills? Or are you guys confident and happy with how you've built your games and built your community, and it's paying your bills and everything is running smoothly without allowing that type of environment? Is there a temptation there?
Not for us, no. Because we're in this for the long term. If you're wanting to, we've been around since 2012, which is almost 8 years. Like in 2 years' time, we're going to be celebrating a decade of CubeCraft, which is ridiculous. And I think one of the reasons which we can survive that long is that we have kind of just, we focused on our product and built something which people just like playing. And if people like playing you, I think, the rest will just fall into place. People will support the server with cosmetics or, the chat tags you get in with ranks and all that kind of stuff. And that's what we've seen. Like we have a really kind of passionate community who really like what we do and support us. I think if you start to break that trust, introduce kind of other components which that you in the short to medium term, you might make a kind of quick buck, but will your server still be there in 5 years' time? The likelihood is not, because you'll burn through your players, you'll burn your community, and they'll become disenfranchised with your brand, and disenfranchised with multiplayer Minecraft. So you're just shooting everyone in the foot, really. And so I think by being kind of going for that long term, trying to focus on building a good product, focusing on the community safety and all that. And we're not perfect. We still have issues. We're currently we're doing a big work internally at the moment to bring out some new community safety guidelines, and trying to always improve and always hold ourselves to higher standards than we currently do. But it is hard, and it does take investment. But we have a duty of care. People are coming onto CubeCraft, on Bedrock. There's no minimum age on Xbox Live anymore, I don't think. These are 8, 9, 10-year-olds coming and engaging with our brand, and we have a duty of care there. We have to be responsible, not just because it's what Mojang want, but it's because it's the right thing to do. Like these people just want to come and have a good time. Yeah, we have cosmetic upgrades and all that kind of stuff, but the focus has got to be on the player.
Yeah, cool. Hey, I love talking about this. I could geek out about this for hours. We could start, the Void Frog server podcast and just keep talking about this stuff. But I would love to move over into some of the other stuff that CubeCraft does. And this is something that qmagnet might be able to jump in and start talking about. Get ready, man. Get ready.
I'm ready.
You guys actually make skin packs, texture packs, maps. You do like parkour stuff. Like all of this stuff is part of your marketplace partnership with Mojang. Can you tell us, how did you guys get started making maps for the marketplace?
So I guess it started with the server. Obviously, you know, as a game server, we have a massive need for maps. And, you know, ever since we started, we've always had a big focus on build quality, because it really impacts gameplay, and specifically gameplay focused building. And, you know, especially in when you're talking about balancing games, maps play a really big part of it. And Luke, who's looks after our marketplace and map team, has a really, really good knack for this. Like, they can tell when they're building, you know, for say something like Sky Wars or Egg Wars or those island-based games, you can make a really pretty looking map, but it's really bad for gameplay because either it's got a load of foliage in it, so like when you're hitting your swords, it gets in the way, or if it's got a really uneven terrain, you'll actually end up favoring certain islands over other islands. And so you we've always kind of been built around kind of creating really pretty and excellent looking maps, which also are great for gameplay. And so, you know, we've always had a map team. They've always been, in my view at least, I'm potentially slightly biased, but I've always thought they've been fantastic. And I've loved all of everything they've done.
It's better than saying they're all right.
Yeah,
come on our server.
I do have a slight. If I ever want to annoy Luke, I'll be like, how's the block placing going? And he gets really, really, really wound up whenever I do that. And then he's like, oh, how's typing? And I'm like, okay, fair play. So like. Everything from kind of lobbies to our game maps, that those are kind of either been built. Most of them have been built within our team, which we've always had, that kind of CubeCraft build team, and now the CubeCraft design team. And so kind of when we started our server partnership with Microsoft and Mojang, the natural progression was that we also brought over our design team there as well. Because we had experience, like we have Lucky Blocks on our server, which has a custom resource pack and is multiplayer. And so we already had some of that talent and had been, you know, well received by the community. And so it was definitely a big learning curve for the team. And it's been great to see that design team expand from what was, you know, a relatively server focused build team to producing these massive, gigantic maps with their own game logic, because that was a big change for them. Usually they build the stuff and it's the modded server which would actually put in all the gameplay mechanics, but now the design team have their own internal like redstone and command blocks and all that kind of stuff to actually get the game logic to work. And that's given everyone a fresh perspective over what you can do with Minecraft and what you can do with the platform, which we've really enjoyed. But that basically came over with the server. We started relatively small, just kind of looking at some skin packs and survival spawns. Candy Kingdom, I think, was one of our first kind of good releases, which we did, which was a skin pack and survival spawn as two separate items. And I remember just our first experience of like getting everything ready, converting it to Bedrock. It was an absolute nightmare. Like, it was so painful because it's still in the relatively early days of marketplace and not everyone had quite worked out all the correct tools. And it was our first time going through it. And, you know, over time we've gotten better. You know, it doesn't require me shouting at a computer for 6 hours to get a world to convert anymore, which is amazing.
Yeah, come on, throw it out the window.
Yeah. And
that was me.
You know, the team have come on leaps and bounds, and is you know, that it's massive. I think it's bigger than the developer team now. Because you know we always kind of look at supporting kind of people who are part-time at uni and all that kind of stuff. Just with stuff.
You kind of hinted at map building teams, things like that.
Yeah.
Give a rundown of sort of like a brief description of, hey, I've got this idea for this game I want to put on the server. What's the process? Somebody just get the team together, start building blocks on the thing, and the redstone guy comes in, and then you test it and go?
So for our, I'll talk about how the kind of creative process works for the server first.
Yeah.
So we've kind of got what I like to refer to as Luke squared. So we have EFC Luke, who, like I said, kind of runs our marketplace team, and we've got Rubik, whose real name is Luke, who also kind of founded CubeCraft and runs the development team. And for a lot of the kind of hardcore creative stuff has come out of them. And like honestly, they're definitely kind of together much greater than some of the parts. Like when you see them talking together about Minecraft, like gameplay and everything, like it leaves me in awe. And I've been working with them for 5 years. Like I'm still flabbergasted by how they think and the level of attention to detail which they have. But generally, it'll be stuff like we will work in the office every Monday when we're actually in. We have a Monday morning meeting at 11:30 where we talk about everything which has gone on over the past week and what's going on, and then we go to the local Spoons for lunch. For those who aren't in Britain, Spoons is like a pub chain called Weatherspoons, and we just go and have food. We don't drink alcohol, but we just kind of have like a pub meal basically, and that's where we kind of talk in a really casual way, and that's where some of really cool ideas have come out of in the past, of just kind of those casual conversations. And actually a lot of our creative ideas come out of, when we'll be playing, we're just meeting socially and we'll be talking and stuff just comes out of the woodworks. And then once we've kind of got an initial concept, it kind of gets iterated on kind of just in a draft proposal stage for a while. This is actually very much the same for Marketplace as well. Kind of on Marketplace, the ideas kind of come from either within the team, like they're all very creative. We all kind of like, they all kind of talk amongst each other, very kind of friendly and social atmosphere, which is something which we really like to promote. This kind of weird, wacky concepts will come over, and then very quickly, they get iterated over. It's like, is it worth it? Is it, an idea which we're going to run with? Is an idea which we're going to bin? Because, you always have to kind of be prepared to fail fast. And so we basically try and we'll run with something. We'll give it a shot. If it works, great. We'll take it through. If it's not working, failing fast is really important, and then failing well. So either adapting it into something which does work, thinking, what can we do to make it better? Or is it the gameplay? Is it the map? Is it the logic? Like what's required? And then we kind of take that to the next iteration until we've got something which we're really proud of. Yeah. And then we ship it. And on the server side, that iteration process actually involves building the game, and so the actual game will get built and iterated on, and then finally released. We don't have kind of a really large iterative creative process, and then it goes in development. Development sits very much alongside, mainly because Luke is a developer and the other Luke is the builder, and so they're like, I've got a great idea. So Luke will go build the game, Luke will go build the map, and we have a prototype pretty quickly. And it's phenomenal to see, and it does mean we can produce some really cool concepts. And a lot of the sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, my biggest problem from being a map builder was you test something, it works fine for you, and then when more people play it, it breaks.
Yeah.
How do you, because it's going to be worse if you got thousands of people playing at the same time. How do you get past that?
We have a QA team internally. Yeah. Again, it's like one of those weird things where it's like, oh wow, this is a bit game studio-y. But we actually have a kind of drawn from our moderation team and other like just generally within the design team pool and developers. When we have something to which we're working on, is that it very quickly goes into staff testing, where we'll just jump on a Discord call, go play something, whether that be a marketplace map or something which we're working on the server, and very quickly off that gives us a really tight feedback loop, which allows us to go, oh, that's very, very broken, or that works really well. People really love that certain mechanic. And that's what we go. And like some of the kind of screenshots and videos which come out of staff testing, where like there's just fire everywhere, or like an explosion of chickens. Like it's crazy. Like stuff goes wrong very, very quickly if it goes wrong. Yeah. But it's a really kind of fun process. And if it's the actual people who made it, whether those be the developers or the command block people, that they will be involved in that testing, and so they'll see what the reaction is of the other people, and they're involved in that creative process.
Yeah. About how many of your projects that you guys start with prototyping don't actually make it to live production publishing?
So everything will make it in some way.
Okay.
And the fact that we kind of follow the 3 R's, kind of reuse, recycle, reduce.
The third R?
Like
Reduce?
Reduce. Like it's the recycling one where it's like reduce, reuse, recycle. Where we if something doesn't work in a certain concept, generally it can be applied in a different way. So we used to have loads of different lobbies for our games on the Java network. And some really cool builds, and basically they're not used at the moment. We've kind of. Sorry, I might just need to have a break and go shut a door, because I can hear my housemate screaming down at something. I'll be back in 1 minute.
That's all right.
Sorry about that. I think Rubik was in quite an intense game of Overwatch, so it was screaming the entire house down.
Oh, so you have to live with the people you work with. Is that what you're saying?
I live with Rubik.
Oh goodness.
And he's a very loud gamer.
So if there's an awkward cut there, then we'll blame it on Rubik.
That'll make sense.
Yeah.
So let's say we got a few minutes left of this segment. I want to hit real quick, big important news from CubeCraft, which I think is really great because you have the Java servers, also Bedrock servers. I know a lot of people are interested in running Bedrock servers, but it's fairly difficult right now. I've tried it myself, and it's fairly difficult
Yes, it is.
without a lot of custom development, as far as I know. But you guys have some really cool news that's come up that hopefully will help the server owner community in Bedrock substantially. What is that?
Yes. So Nucket X, which is a team which kind of builds Bedrock, open source Bedrock server software, has joined CubeCraft. So that organization now kind of sits as a kind of a subsection within CubeCraft.
Yep.
And actually their lead dev has joined as a developer as well, which is really great. So this is something which I'm really excited about. I think there's a lot of potential here. There's a few reasons of kind of what we're trying to do. Number one is we're kind of wanting to build a really kind of strong Bedrock focused developer community. Currently at the moment and in the past, there's been a lot of fragmentation as the kind of standard Bedrock server software to run has kind of shifted between Pocket Mine and Minet and Nucket and its various forks. And so we're kind of and that's caused the community to fragment. And people kind of float around, and you might want to start a server, and you might start it on one piece of server software, and then a year later, that piece of server software isn't maintained, or it's changed ownership, or it's introduced a new system which has broken it. And so, effectively, the purpose of what we're trying to do in Nucket is introduce kind of almost like a layer of governance to kind of help guide that project. So, CubeCraft's main role is going to be engaging with what we call like stakeholders. So whether that be server hosts, so like people who kind of resell server hosting to people who want to run small servers, whether that be marketplace partners, whether that be, and of course, developers themselves, to try and help build a really first-class Bedrock first experience, both for players and also for creators. Like I know internally within the marketplace world, most people will build their maps on Java and then convert them over to Bedrock.
Yep.
And then if you need to do like a more advanced kind of Worldedit or retweak something, you then have to convert back, and it's all a bit of a pain. And like that's something I know that our team internally really struggles with.
Yep.
Well, not struggles. It just like slows you down. Like when you're kind of in that creative flow and you're having to faff around with tech, like that's a problem which you should solve. And so we think by starting to create a really first-class building experience on Nucket, that will really help. There's already a version of Worldedit for Nucket, There's already a few versions of different plugins getting ported over to Nucket. I'm talking to a few of the kind of developers behind the kind of, headline building plugins to try and get those kind of ported over to Nucket as well. And then internally, Nucket are actually switching their formats. So traditionally, Nucket and most of the open source Bedrock server software would use the Java format of the world internally.
Yeah.
But something Nucket is doing is that they're midway through switching over to LevelDB, which is the Bedrock format. So that actually means you'll be building natively in Bedrock worlds with kind of the usual building tooling you'd be used for, and you're in the Bedrock client. And there's so much potential there, and I'm really hoping that we kind of get interest from other marketplace partners to kind of join and help pool resources. Because I've got visions of 1 minute you might be, because we're not going to implement the entire command block system in Nucket because it is quite bizarre and would be very, very complicated. But what we could do is you could actually build out your command blocks in Nucket. You could do all your world editing in there, and then you could save that world and instantly spin up a Bedrock dedicated server. And we could have a bit of magic tooling which just plops you in that dedicated server. You can test those command blocks, be like, I need to quickly world edit something again, switch back to Nucket, automatically saves, transfers you over back to Nucket. And that would be so phenomenal.
Yeah.
For just iterating, creating content faster in a much more cohesive way. And yes, there's a lot of tech challenges there, and it is going to involve resources. We've kind of committed to helping support the project, and hopefully we'll get other we hope to kind of basically form a group of people who will kind of help support that project and take it forwards. And that work which we do to make it really good for building will then make it really good for. It'll probably fix a load of bugs in survival, and then the work which we do to focus on the survival experience for the server host, that will kind of then go and even make the building experience even better. So by engaging with all these groups, we're hoping that we'll end up with a really kind of first-class server software which is performant, can scale, is adaptable, and it becomes the kind of de facto for building and creating in Bedrock.
That's phenomenal. I mean, this is genuinely huge news.
Yes.
Not just for you guys. Congratulations on that, by the way. But for the community as a whole, running a Minecraft server in Bedrock, like I said, is difficult. Building in it is difficult. qmagnet.
Yeah.
Imagine you're working on diversity for Bedrock,
Trying to.
and you can bring your whole team in there with you on the same server and world edit together and build everything together, and then. When you're ready to launch, when you're ready to go, you just spin it up in the native Bedrock LevelDB formats and send it over to the marketplace. Be ready to go. Boom, baby.
Here's the thing,
phenomenal.
though. The whole time you're explaining this, I'm just thinking, why did someone call it Nucket X? Nucket? One, that's not even water-based, and it sounds like Bucket. It has an X on the end.
I know. We are thinking of a rename. It is probably because especially what's called currently Nucket X 2.0, which is the kind of native LevelDB support and all of that. Like I think that's a clean enough break that we could probably think of because it is actually quite confusing. You're right, like Nucket and Bucket, they're typos away. Like literally B and N are next to each other on the keyboards, and so we kind of I think that there is the likelihood that we are going to switch away. We don't really know what to call it at the moment, so we're taking suggestions.
The qmagnet system.
The qmagnet system.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's got a good flow to it. I think you could get everyone on board with it.
That's right.
Good. All right.
But and I think also like the Nucket name is kind of known at the moment as server software. So probably what we'll try and do is we'll probably try and reach out to the server hosts, the developers, the marketplace partners, and be like, this is what we're trying to do. And then once we've kind of got that structure in place to support our decision making, we'll then actually launch currently Nucket X2, but under a different name with a kind of much hopefully stronger brand behind it, which will then help. Because I think that they thought about rebranding before, but when there's already so many different versions of the Bedrock open source software. Like that could just get even more confusing. Yeah. But hopefully now we've kind of got the weight of the CubeCraft name behind it, and also with the support of server hosts, marketplace partners, developers, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. If we transition that name, that should hopefully be a lot clearer, because we can work with the server hosts and be like, you're probably currently running something called NucketX. The new version of it is going to be called this.
It's going to be called qmagnet system.
A qmagnet system.
The official qmagnet system.
That's it.
I look forward to it.
But yeah,
that's great.
It is really exciting. There is still a long way to go, and it's an open source project. It's not going to be possible without the support of the community, without the support of other people kind of chipping in and sharing that workload. Because it is a massive engineering effort to write a server software from scratch. Yeah. And so we're hoping that kind of by engaging directly, by being open to collaboration, that we'll get a lot of interest.
What is it? NucketX, nukkitx.net.com?
Nucketx.com. Yeah.
Cool. Go look it up there, guys. As for rebranding, Void Frogs, I know, is a really strong brand, but I would ask
that's
that you
a good
please
one too.
Don't use.
You can even call it Void Frog X. 2.0.
No, I'm saying you can't call it that. Void Frogs is ours. You can't have that one. I'm sorry.
Void Frog X.
That's it. Okay, Q. We got some more segments we got to get into, some fun segments. Really appreciate all of that great, very detailed information.
I've been wanting to get a server guy on here since episode 1 because I have no idea anything about servers. So you've been like on the top of the waiting list here. It's really good to have you on.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear.
Q, you ready?
I am so ready for...
Let's do this.
We're going to call this... NucketX Fire.
NucketX Fire. All right, that's fine. This is like a rapid fire segment, but it's not very rapid.
Okay.
It normally takes a while to get through. So, go ahead.
I don't know if you've seen this far into any podcasts or of our episodes, but we've got 5 random questions for you that are not related to your Minecrafty expertise or anything like that. We're putting you on the spot, hot seat there. You better be ready. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Question number 1. In a past life, this is a statement. Okay. In a past life, you were a food. You got reincarnated to become the current Zed. What food were you in that past life?
I think given my hair color, I'll have to go for the spice ginger.
The spice ginger? Spice ginger is a food?
Well, I mean, it's a spice which you eat, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And it's you can eat ginger. You can eat ginger raw as well, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not really red though, is it?
No, it's not. I don't understand it.
It's brown.
I mean, alternatively, I could have been a carrot. That's, I guess, more foodie.
Yeah. Well, the carrot is orange on the bottom, and I guess you could hold it. Okay. Well, anyway, question number 2.
Wait. I have a different question. Why is like ginger hair called ginger when the ginger root
That's right.
is not?
That's a British thing, and they've taken over the world with it. Never understood.
Yeah, I've never really thought of it, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's probably a good reason. I'm sure if you went onto Wikipedia and looked at the etymology of ginger and ginger as a spice, that there's probably some common root somewhere in Latin. But I have no idea.
Well, ginger it is. Okay, second question. Which video game villain would beat every other video game villain in a deathmatch?
Oh, you're really testing my lack of video game knowledge here.
This is my lack of video game knowledge too. I'm not really a gamer. I just do Minecraft all the time.
I mean, so like, I guess I like my instinct is saying that I've played some Star Trek games, and I reckon that the Borg from Star Trek in those games were pretty unstoppable. So I'm gonna twist the fact that I play very few video games into the fact that I watch a lot of Star Trek. So I'll go for the Borg.
Excellent.
We should have came up with a Star Trek question.
Borg, are they the ones that say assimilate?
Resistance is futile. Yeah.
Resistance is
no. Assimilate is Cybermen, isn't it?
Cybermen?
Cybermen
You will be assimilated. You will be assimilated.
No, what do they say? Somebody's going to say in the comments.
Wait,
can't
oh
remember
no,
their
The
you will be
lines.
Daleks?
assimilated
What
is
about
called.
the Daleks? Those are
The
Doctor Who.
Daleks say...
Daleks.
Exterminate.
delete.
Oh no.
I can't
No.
remember.
Delete and upgrade is Cybermen. Daleks is exterminate. Borg is resistance is futile, and you will be
Who
assimilated.
says you will be deleted?
That's the Cyberman in
That's
Doctor
a
Who. I think.
Cyberman.
You're either upgraded, which is when you get converted to a Cyberman, or if they just buzz you on the shoulder, then you're getting deleted.
Yeah.
Rough
Been
life.
a while. Okay.
Please don't take
Question
our
number
nerd cards.
3. All right. So you have to swap an insect or a bug, their size, with an animal's size. So, for example, ants are now the size of elephants. Elephants are now the size of ants. Which two creatures are you going to choose? And this is all for all humanity for the rest of time.
Grasshoppers with rhinos.
Okay, I get the small rhinos, but you want gigantic grasshoppers.
Gigantic grass.
They jump. They would like crush
Yeah,
houses.
I think it'd be really.
You
I
want
think
that.
it'd be quite destructive.
I think
Would
that's a
there-
good new minigame for the server.
Would
Giant grasshoppers.
Giant
would
grass-
their
grasshoppers.
noise be louder? Their legs rubbing together?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
all you'd hear is grasshopper noises, no matter where you are in the world, permanently.
It's terrifying.
Nice job creating someone's nightmare. Question number 4. You're being chased by some unknown person for no reason you don't know of. For no reason you don't know of.
For no reason for a reason you don't know. You
For
don't
a
know why
reason
you're
you
being
don't
chased.
know.
It's basically
You don't
what
know.
the
Okay.
But you can avoid certain doom if you choose the right catchphrase to say to the one hunting you. What catchphrase would save your life?
Oh. Catchphrase. As in like a well-known catchphrase?
Well, it's gotta be the one that saves you.
Is it got to be some kind of witty remark?
You could die if it's the wrong catchphrase.
Oh my!
Like resistance is futile.
Resistance is futile. Exterminate. Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it? I guess. I guess that would be quite a threatening move. I feel like that would be a bit of a power move to say resistance is futile.
You know?
Or I could just say, to be honest, I'd probably let's solve this over a cup of tea or something. I don't know, something British. Yeah, I would be like, let's just have a cup of tea.
I like it.
He was actually chasing you to give you a cup of tea.
Maybe that was the thing. Like, it's just probably just a misunderstanding. I'm
Yeah.
sure that everyone has good intentions on all sides.
I love that answer.
It's a good answer. It's
great.
a good answer. You did not think anyone was going to ask you that specific question, and it happened.
I didn't.
All right, last question in the Nugget X Fire round. Would you rather be world class attractive, a genius, or famous for doing something incredibly great for the world?
I think doing something incredibly great for the world would be my go-to. Yeah.
What would you like to do?
I don't know. I think it'd be really cool to do something in like really high density renewable energy, something like that. Like solve like
easy.
high density renewable energy. I think that'd be quite cool.
That's
Get an Iron Man suit, that
Yeah.
kind of level of energy density. That'd be quite cool.
That you didn't pick genius. I don't know if you'll be able to pull that off.
If you put your mind to anything, then I'm sure
Yeah,
even if you aren't a
kids.
genius, you'd be able to do it.
Put
yeah.
your mind
can-
to anything.
Clearly,
I'm going to take my
clearly-
Let's
mind
go.
out
Let's go
and
for
put it
let's
to
go
the
for the
table.
inspirational front. Yeah.
Clearly, he's able to bring people together to, right,
Yeah.
and at some degree, bring people together to make a world-class Minecraft server. So
Very attractive
yeah.
Minecraft server, I might add.
making high-density renewable energy and solving the world's
Which
energy
now you can
crisis.
go hunt for Easter eggs, and I found 2 of them.
Good job.
Oh, yeah, we've got our Easter egg hunt on the server now at the moment, don't we? Yeah.
It's the greatest game ever.
pretty good. Thank you for playing Nugget X Fire.
Nugget
Good
X.
job. We have one last.
Every week,
I love it.
I get a new splash over the screen if you're watching on YouTube, and it gives a nice little logo.
I have
there.
to do the work. I have to put up the different splash screen every time. He just comes up with these things out of nowhere, and then I have to figure it out.
You're stuck with it in the edit.
Yeah, pretty much. So we have one last segment here.
Okay.
Now this is that last one was fun. See the fire.
That was fun.
That's like with qmagnet having
Fire's
some fun. You know, this is intense. This is serious.
This is not fun.
You are representing
You will
all
not like
of
this.
CubeCraft.
Yep.
Okay.
And now Nugget X. If you fail, I don't even know what they're gonna do. Void Frogs
Oh, no.
trivia.
The prize
5.
is
Oh, this is not going to be good.
if you get a perfect score, then we take over your server.
That's
And
a
you
terrible.
take over. You take
No.
it.
That's a
and you take
terrible.
over
That's a
our podcast.
terrible
We switched
incentive.
Podcast for server. That's the winning prize,
Okay.
right? He said, "Okay,
Yeah.
that is legally bound."
Legally bad. Okay. Anyway,
So it's a good win.
Or,
I'll clap for you in my brain if you get a 5 out of 5. How about that?
Okay.
So we have 5 questions here, 5 trivia questions. The category is Z.
What?
Z
What?
trivia.
What?
Z
Huh?
trivia.
Z trivia.
What's
The
that? I don't know what
category
that-
is Z trivia.
Z.
And there's
Like
a timer.
the sea, like the Mediterranean Sea.
There is a timer in my head for
Okay.
Z questions.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
you're for the questions. You see a timer in the head.
There
for
is
the
a
questions.
timer in my head, so you've got a time limit on these questions to get them right. Okay.
Right. Yep.
So I want you to feel a lot of pressure right now. This is really intense.
I
Okay.
feel this is intense.
All CubeCraft is
you're
on the
gonna-
line.
You're gonna do great. Yep. Question number 1. Question number 1. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm definitely not ready, but let's go anyway.
From World War Z to Plants vs. Zombies, Zeds have infected pop culture and terrified kids and adults alike. The global craze started in 1968 with the release of the movie Night of the Living Dead. Who was the director?
Oh, I've got no chance. I don't think I've ever seen
Are
the
you
movie.
serious?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it. I don't think I've heard of it, to be honest.
Oh no!
Come on. If you don't get perfect, then you don't get the Void Frogs podcast. And then we don't get.
Night of the I think I've heard of the title. I wouldn't be able to tell you anything about it.
So I have no. You know what? Hey, here, I'll give you multiple choice. First question. Multiple choice.
Okay. It's who wants to be a millionaire? We'll go for that format.
You want to phone a friend?
Friend, Colin Rubik.
Yeah.
Oh, you could.
So here's your multiple choice. Okay.
Okay.
Stanley Kubrick,
Okay.
James Cameron,
Yeah.
George A. Romero.
You can't think of any more. Oh, he's frozen.
Oh, is it Frozen or is
I'm
it?
thinking. I'm
amazing.
thinking. I'm thinking.
I couldn't tell if that was Frozen or whether.
Go with those 3. Those 3 right there.
We didn't hear the third.
Oh, you didn't hear the third. Stanley Kubrick, James
Yeah.
Cameron, George A. Romero.
So I've heard of the second one, James Cameron, and you said this was what 1968.
1968,
So,
first popular
don't-
zombie movie.
I don't think it would have been James Cameron because
Okay.
I think he's done recent movies. So
We'll cross
I've
it out.
eliminated that.
Okay.
Because my phone a friend is James Cameron. I can call him right now.
The other options were Steve Kubrick
Stanley
and
Kubrick.
Ooh,
Stanley
gonna get
Cooper.
hate for that one.
I'll go
George
for
Romero.
Stanley.
And George Romero.
George
Romero.
George Romero. Romero. I'll go for one of the S's. Let's go for Stanley.
Stanley? It was at this time Stanley realized. I'm very sorry that is incorrect.
No.
It was George A. Romero.
I should have got that from the long pause before you said it.
Yeah.
Trying to think of
So
it.
you're saying, so am I right in saying you don't know video games and you don't know movies?
I've been focused on CubeCraft since quite a young age.
He's creating a legacy here, Q. He's creating a legacy.
Like my younger childhood was all caught up in windsurfing and sports, and then I got into CubeCraft, and then did CubeCraft.
Hopefully we got
luckily
different
the next
questions
question. Luckily, the next question is right up your alley. Okay. Considering you are a Greek expert, in the Greek alphabet, letters have different names from what we have in English. For example, A is alpha, B is beta.
Yeah.
And what is Z known as?
Omega is the last letter of the alphabet, so I guess Omega. Do I get that? No.
What's it? What? No.
Nope.
What are you talking about?
That's the last.
A is
that's
alpha,
the last letter
B
of
is
the
beta, and the last one is in Greek alphabet. Since you're an expert.
I don't know.
Aww.
I don't know.
That's okay. I love this. This is great.
I swear, the last letter of the Greek alphabet I thought was Omega. Though.
Omega is in the Greek alphabet, but
Omega's
it's
like-
not Z.
Oh.
It's Zeta.
Zeta.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I wouldn't have got that.
That's okay. That's okay.
you
We're
were
moving on.
Expert.
We're moving on.
I think you very much underestimated my trivia skills.
This is great. I'm loving this. I hope you're loving this too. Okay.
I'm not doing a good representation of CubeCraft or Nugget.
This is great. Okay. Question number 3. All right. I'm switching to something a little bit closer to home. Okay.
Yeah.
You ready?
We're going to London. Okay.
Okay.
This publishing company, based in London, it's a book publishing company, has been releasing nonfiction books. There's sometimes political or academic or social nonfiction books since 1977. It was founded by Roger van Svanenberger. I think that's German. I don't know.
They're delicious. I love a Sonnenberger.
Today publishes up to 70 books each year. What is the name of this London book publishing company? Now, here's the thing. Here's the hint. This is way closer to you than you might think. This is way closer to you than you might think. The answer is right there.
What?
You got this. You've got this.
London Publishing Company? I don't know.
Closer to you. The answer is closer to.
Did you even give him the theme for the trivia this week?
I said it was.
Z, wasn't it?
Z trivia.
Z.
I said it was
Z Publishing? Z Publishers? I don't know.
Hey, you got it.
Z Publishers. There we go. I got one. I apparently do not know enough trivia about my own name.
You got it. Good job. Excellent work. All right, question number 4.
Totally did no leniency there at all.
None. No, that was a tough question.
Okay. Number 4.
Question number 4.
Okay. And I'm just finding out about this too because I didn't know about this. So, you are familiar with XY chromosomes in biology?
Yeah, I don't know what a Z chromosome is though.
Well, and there's a type of animal that has it. Okay.
There's actually a number of types of animals.
There's a few types of animals. So humans have XYs. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 types of animals. You just have to know name a type of animal that has a Z chromosome.
Any one of them. When we say
Come on. Get it.
when we say type of animal, I'll give you an
believe in
example.
you.
Okay.
Cat would be a type of
Cat.
animal, right? Or
Okay.
or like snails might be a type of animal. We're not looking for like exact species. We're talking about like big
So
group
I'm
here.
gonna. Would I be able to say fish? Is that too broad?
Yes, that's it.
Fish is correct.
There we go. Yes, there we go.
Good job.
Birds, fish, butterflies, apparently, moths,
Butterflies.
reptiles.
Do we know what the Z chromosome does?
I
It
have
makes
no
them
No, I
scaly
don't. Okay.
and feathery and wingy.
Yeah. So apparently, in real short biology lesson here, XY chromosomes, animals and humans that have XY chromosomes, the male determines, like the male is the one who determines the gender, sex of the offspring. In Z chromosomes, it's the opposite.
Okay.
Z chromosome. Chromosome.
Z chromosomes. So, okay, question number 5. You got this. Look at you. 2 for 4. You got this. Number 5.
You will
And
get this.
one,
I know you will get this.
This one is going to hit close to home.
You're going to get it.
Okay.
As
I believe
well.
in you.
Also close to home.
Unfortunately, you can't have the podcast anymore. You're going to have to stick to CubeCraft, but you can get this.
Okay, I'll
question.
stick to CubeCraft.
you put in a little bit of work and CubeCraft could be a success one day.
Yeah.
It is a huge success. All right. So question number 5. You're into windsurfing, right?
Yes, I am.
Windsurfing.
Oh, he's getting relaxed.
Yep, he's ready for
Oh,
this.
I have a feeling that I'm about to be showing off in my knowledge of windsurfing.
Well, I hope. Windsurfing is a water-based activity.
Yes.
And
That wasn't the question. Okay, that will be too easy.
Ding. There is a flag that's flown on some boats and ships. There's different flags, right?
Yeah.
Maritime flags.
Z flag.
The Z flag. You know what it is. Okay. The Z flag. Oh, Z flag.
No,
when-
you said it.
when raised
We had him
above-
converted. We had him converted, Zed.
When raised above a ship, the Z flag alerts others nearby that I require a tug, or when used in fishing regions, it means I'm shooting nets. There might be other meanings to it as well, but I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Because I'm not into that. This flag has 4 colors: black,
Yes.
yellow,
Yes.
red, and what other color?
Blue.
Beautiful.
Should have
Ding.
done all
Look at
windsurfing
that.
trivia with the guy.
Look at that.
I've got more interesting facts about the Z flag.
Okay,
Whoa,
come on.
all right, let's
go.
hear it.
So Z flag when you're around. I think this is right. I'll check it's right, and then we'll cut this if it's not right. But the Z flag when you're racing either sailboats or windsurfing boats, if it's shown on the vessel, which is like starting the race, it means if you're over, you get a 20% penalty on your score. If you start, basically if you have a false start, you have to go around, you have to restart, and you get a 20% penalty.
Oh.
And that's and it's called the Z flag penalty in windsurfing. That's my fun follow-up trivia fact.
Wow,
thank you
you
for
should have
that.
asked
We've
us.
learned
We would have been like, I don't know.
We have absolutely learned something. I appreciate that. I actually have one other thing that, because you do windsurfing, you coach windsurfing. You've been doing it for a while.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you do that in Wales, right?
Yes. So I used to race competitively when I was a bit younger. When I was in kind of the junior levels. So when I was under 15 and under 17, I was part of Team GB. Went to a few international events. Did averagely, and then kind of went into coaching pretty quickly, and also race officialing, which is kind of probably a lot more my street. I was always kind of one for the rule book and kind of the tactics and strategy, and less one for the hours and hours of fitness training which is required to be an athlete. So I kind of found my calling in race officialing and coaching, where I can kind of focus on like the stuff which interests me a lot more.
That's really cool. Well, so I have a friend who's from Wales, and they have made me an honorary Welshman. But I have a problem.
Okay.
I can't pronounce this city name. I'm gonna send it on over to you right now. If you wouldn't mind helping me out. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on the video as well. But could you just help me out so I can be a real?
So I can help
Welshman?
out with. I can help out with some of it. I know it's Llanfair. Then I don't know, and then it's like it's very like Welsh has got a lot of like back of throat noises in. It's like I think it's like either clan or Llanfair, Gwenny, Glully, Gogory, and then it ends in Gok, and that's about it. There's a bit of a middle ground which I'm not sure of, but I've had this, and this is also something which, because I'm not Welsh, and obviously a lot of the people I coach are Welsh. Yeah. They do like testing my Welsh abilities and watching me struggle with the bizarreness of I know a few Welsh. I know like Borodar, which I think's hello, and I know like Popty Ping, which I think's microwave. Although I'm not entirely. I think it's one of those words which is kind of like used as a slang. I don't think it's actual Welsh. But Popty Ping and Wibbly Wobbly.
Wibbly Wobbly,
which is a jellyfish.
Oh, I love it.
Again, I'm not entirely convinced. I think they might be having me on. But,
that's what it's really called. Go tell all your friends. Just taught you this language.
That's Wibbly Wobbly. Oh man. Well, I feel like every Welsh person that I know tests people on how to say words.
It's a very interesting language, and I cannot speak or pronounce it for even though I just have no idea. It just baffles me.
Well, you did great. Unfortunately, I won't be a Welshman today, so thanks for your help. I'll just say Llanfair.
You should definitely give it a go. Give it a go.
Llanfair. Go. Like, I don't know. I have no idea how to even begin this word. You go for it.
Try and get Siri to say it.
Come on. Q? No?
I was just thinking, like, you said you were teaching in Wales, and I'm like, that's amazing. You actually go into a whale opens its mouth, you go inside, you have your lesson in there. I'm blown away. That's completely dangerous, more than I thought it was.
It's all right. We've got a risk assessment.
Thank you very much for that addition, Q. That was wonderful. And thank you, Zed, as well, for being here and for making the battle of the alphabet this much more difficult.
A win for the right side.
I appreciate you being here. Zed, would you mind, please, telling everybody how they can follow you and separately how they can get onto CubeCraft?
So you can follow me on Twitter is probably the best place, twitter.com/gingergeek, because I'm ginger and I like technology. That's where that username came from. Nice. Very imaginative. CubeCraft, you can, we're a featured server, so if you're on any of the Bedrock platforms, so that's iOS, Windows 10, Android, and Xbox and Nintendo Switch, you can just click on servers and we should be listed there. If you're on Java, then you can join us using the IP play.cubecraft.net, and our website is cubecraft.net, where you can find all of our social media links from Twitter to Facebook to Snapchat and Instagrams. We're on them all, and you should follow us everywhere because CubeCraft is great.
Fantastic. You've actually got the CubeCraft shirt on too.
I have. I'm branded up. It's good.
Represent.
We've got a wide variety of CubeCraft related merch in this house.
That's great. Are you guys hiring right now?
Yes, we are. Jobs.cubecraft.net. I think we're currently looking for anti-cheat developers. We are also always looking for kind of cold applications. So if you think you've kind of got something to add, whether it be in our design team, whether it be in our production team, I think we're recruiting for associate producers at the moment. But if you think you've got something which you can bring to the team, then please get in touch. We always love hearing from people. And if we think we've got something for you, we'll let you know.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Seriously, Zed, this has been incredibly insightful, learning so much. I mean, myself, even learning about servers and development, and running your Minecraft server as a game studio. Absolutely incredible. Q, do you have any last questions? Any
I've been trying to look up why ginger is red, and the only thing I come up is a lot of Ginger's favored food has been red, and that's kind of why. I don't know if anybody knows why ginger and red go together like this. Then you will win.
I've always considered red a shade of ginger. If I'm honest, I think ginger is the root color, and everything else is just a shade.
I was gonna say whoever finds out the answer can have the CubeCraft server. They can have it. Prize.
They definitely cannot.
Well, thanks again very much, Seth. Yeah, if you guys find out why ginger and red are associated with each other, or why red is a shade of ginger, let us know in the comments on YouTube, youtube.com/thevoidfrogs, twitter.com/thevoidfrogs. We're also on Facebook. We are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spreaker. Where else? That's it. I think that might be it. Also, thevoidfrogs.com. We would love to hear from you guys as well. We want to know what you guys are thinking about everything that's going on. So shoot us a message, and we'd love to chat. But that is it for today. Seth, thank you again very much for being here, and thank you all for listening in. You're beautiful. We'll see you all next week, next episode. I'm out. Peace.
Wave your hands like crazy. That's what it's
Just the fingers.